This is honestly a worse mechanic on GameCube, I find, because I feel like it's a lot harder to aim, because I'm pretty sure it's inverted on GameCube. Here it's normal, so it's actually not as bad. This should be a key, I'm almost positive. And it's actually the map. So that raises the question of where is the actual... No, there isn't a key here. I don't think there is, at least. Also, this is a lot more time consuming on GameCube because you actually have to see Link play the song every time. On this version, you play the song and then it just cuts to the actual character instead of him playing the song and then cutting to the character controls, so it's a lot faster. Honestly, I think this is kind of how you should remaster a game, is like to make a lot of little nice quality of life improvements, because I feel like in a lot of games kind of don't do that with remasters. You kind of just leave everything alone, which is kind of okay in some respects, but in other cases kind of leaves something to be desired. Oh shoot. Light will clear up the poison. I don't know what's happening with the mirror. If for some reason stopped carrying over all of the light stopped carrying all the way to the center of the room, which is kind of weird. Let's try that. This is a room we have to come back to a little bit later on. Because this room over here, there's nothing we can actually do about that, so we have to actually revisit that in a bit. Again, I just played this like 2 days ago, so I actually have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing, so hopefully I can do a pretty efficient run. Though the last couple rooms of this dungeon never feel efficient to me, no matter what, so... It's like, there's a couple mirror puzzles that just really, I have a lot of trouble with, for one reason or another. And a small key, so now we can get to the other side. Now there's actually floor masters, that try to capture us, they'll try to capture the friends, and they'll take them back to, like, I think the center room? Same with Link, actually, and it's not harmful, it's just a time sink. That's actually more of a mechanic in Wind Temple. Comes up a lot more. But like, this temple is only 3 levels, which feels kind of small, actually. I feel like Wind Temple's like the largest temple. I guess rightfully so, since this is the last temple. It's also really bizarre to me how sometimes with fire effects the cell shading goes away in this version. I don't know how intentional that is, because I don't remember that happening on GameCube. Toss Medley up there for a second. We're just gonna lure them in. It's a little bit faster, I think. That should have plenty of time. So one nice thing, one thing I always found really cool about this temple is, this is to open the door. but it also makes a shortcut, so we don't have to worry about the switch anymore. So it's just kind of a little weird thing I find really cool about this dungeon, is being able to simultaneously make a path and also open up the door. It can actually be beneficial to let the Floor Masters go after your partners in these levels, just from the standpoint of it gives Link more of an opening to attack them. Alright, so this is opened up. So we can now use the light to destroy everything, basically. Can't even reach the top block with that, or top section. There's like 2 things you can break with the light on each wall, indicated by the little sun icons. I couldn't even reach the one. To be fair, you don't really have to begin with. It's plenty tall enough for Link to get through. So now that there's no statue on this... Okay, this is kind of a plot hole kind of a thing. Like, I get it from a gameplay standpoint, but also, like, Link can carry giant stone rocks, so I kind of feel like he should be able to move these statues, or move the blocks while there's a statue on them. Also, in the last room, if Medley is below where the block would fall, she would actually get out of the way before the block actually fell, so she is very efficient like that. And obviously not the best AI, since she mostly defers to the player's control, but will get out of the way in situations like that, which is rather handy. Alright, so this should be the compass, or a key. I don't actually remember which one. Compass. Okay, Link, do not worry about straying away from Medley in the depths of this temple. Just relax and open your dungeon map. It'll show you Medley's location as well, so you can easily confirm her whereabouts. Can't actually see it, because we have the same position on the map. So this is kind of a difficult room, actually, to do efficiently because of having to need light. So those ghosts are posed standard Zelda enemies. They have lanterns. You can break the lantern, I'm pretty sure, but you can also just do this, which works pretty well. They can also possess you, and oddly enough, once they stop possessing Link, because it is on a timer, they will just disappear. Like, you don't have to defeat them if they disappear. Wow, it's being sneaky, it's not charging. There we go. I didn't want to reposition Medley, just save time this way, so I just ended up, just kind of baiting the, Poe into the light. If they ever remake this game again, I hope they turn down the sensitivity just a notch, because it kind of feels overly sensitive to control. Small nitpick, obviously, but it is noticeable when trying to aim with the mirror. Sometimes the hitboxes are very precise, so it can be a little bit of a challenge. This should be Mirror Shield, so this should be the key to the Mirror Shield. And we have to deal with a bunch of redeads. Redeads, whatever you want to call them. Or you could just get the key immediately. You get a small key. So there are redeads in this room. Unfortunately, we do have to defeat them because we need the ladder. That's usually what I do. I clip the side of the wall, or the coffin in this case, so it didn't go as I'd hoped, sadly. But that's usually how I end up dealing with Redeads. It's kind of risky, but the sword will stop them from screaming, so if you line up a jump attack, then go into like quick slashes or a spin attack, I find that to be the most efficient way to deal with them. And also look at all these rupees we don't need, because we really don't need that many for the rest of the game. But like that. See, once you kind of get a feel for it, it's actually a really efficient way to defeat them without getting hurt. I find, at least. And 1 rupee, thanks. Such a generous reward. Gotta swap to bombs in this room because we have a mini-boss, the Stalfos. So if they manage to hit the bomb like that, then they immediately break apart. You're supposed to just slash them repeatedly with a sword or other weapon, and eventually they'll fall apart, but you can do this really quickly if you just kinda use a bomb creatively, and if they happen to run into it. Do we fight 2? Yeah, we fight 2 next. This is where things get a little awkward, because basically they will eventually reform. If that happens, it gets a little bit difficult if both go down at the same time. So them starting in opposite corners of the room is actually pretty handy, because you can just pick off one at a time. Don't have to worry about dealing with both. Like locking onto the wrong one or anything. So it's set up in a way that I really like. I applaud this as good game design, even though I'm not sure if that's actually intended. That your first encounter with Stalfos, they're really spread apart. It makes it a lot easier to sort of get a feel for how to fight them. So even when there's 2, you can divide and conquer pretty easily. You got the mirror shield. Its shiny surface reflects beams of light. Hold ZR to shield and use L to aim its reflection. So we have to put into use to just open the dang temple. Or open the door to this room back up, like that. So unfortunately all the enemies have respawned. But we're gonna try to do this without defeating the enemies. For no real reason, to be honest, but just to see if we can. So basically I usually aim like at this point, I think. Then we can run over here. Okay, this might be a problem. Got one of them at least. I got bumped out of the light by the moblin. I feel like this is actually turning out to be slower than if I just defeat them all. I was trying to be efficient, but it kind of didn't work out that way. So the pose reverse your controls. If you run to light, they'll automatically leave Link and just disappear. So yeah, that wasn't efficient at all, because we ended up having to fight everything anyway. Worth a try. I've never tried that before, so I was just curious to see if it was even possible to do this room without actually dealing with any of the enemies. Guess not. So here there's a bunch of rupees, you have to basically reflect this beam to this corner, have the other character shine at this wall. We're gonna skip that though, because it's a lot of setup, and also it's so close quarters, it's super easy to accidentally call Medley while trying to actually use the mirror shield. And since we already have exponentially more rupees than we could possibly ever need, it's just kind of a time killer at this point. And even if I was short on rupees, in all fairness, I wouldn't use that spot because they give you like hundreds of rupees within the Triforce quest. Here's another thing I was thinking of. I'm pretty sure, like 90% sure, never mind. I'm pretty sure you can't get this chest. Like, if you don't do this now, I'm pretty sure you can't get that later on. Because you need both characters, but if you complete the dungeon, I think you lose access to Medley, so I'm 90% sure you have to get that on your first attempt. It's also completely useless though, because it's a Joy Pendant, which you can easily farm elsewhere, so it's like if you do happen to miss it, you're not exactly missing out on anything. But still, point stands, it's probably a like a rare example of a missable item. Like, I legitimately can't think of too many missable chests in this game, but that is one of them.